What's the goddamn button? What's the goddamn button?
Ha 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 ha. Look at this facade. Rapper style used by me, the B.I.G. I put my key, you put your key in. The money will be seeing. You'll reach the fucking ceiling. I might have messed up some words. Epstein Files. Big disappointment, big flop. But who's really surprised? Yeah, they let him out, but only little partial. They didn't really give a lot of it. This young lady, man, I give you your flowers because you gave us a beautiful, beautiful breakdown of actually what is going on currently with this. I'm going to let you cook, and then I'm going to go and jump in with my own 2 cents. Roll footage.
Spent the last several hours today going through the Justice Department's release of the so-called Epstein Files. I say so-called because this definitely is in no way, shape, or form a complete release of the Epstein Files. That's not my opinion. The DOJ has already admitted to Congress that is the fact. According to Representative Ro Khanna, who is the co-sponsor of the discharge petition that forced the Trump DOJ to release these files today, the Epstein file as we know it is a total of 300 gigabytes. And what we got today was 2.5 gigabytes. You see what I'm saying? That's the definition of incomplete. Now, despite all of that, there are some troubling things that were released today. And before I talk about those some more, I need you to know that there is absolutely no context to any of these photos or documents I'm about to show you. We have no idea when some of these photos were taken, where they were taken, or why Epstein kept them. Nor do we know what the DOJ was doing with them or why they were hidden in this file all these years. Okay, so let's look at a few of those photos. There are too many pages to count of stuff like this. Images of victims, clearly whose faces are redacted, in various stages of undress, and even some in frames. There's this one of Epstein with a very little girl in a little ballet leotard and tights and little ballet shoes. And then there are countless pages like this of images of victims clearly, and everything is redacted. But there are pictures of famous people too. You can see here former President Bill Clinton in a jacuzzi with a female whose face is redacted. And then there's this one of him right there in the middle with Ghislaine Maxwell swimming with a female whose face is also redacted. But then there are other photos of him with females whose faces are redacted. Here's one, here's another, and another. There's a never before seen photo of Clinton with Jeffrey Epstein. And then there's a few with him and Kevin Spacey right up here as well. You can see in this photo, that's Ghislaine Maxwell right there. And then this one with Michael Jackson, Diana Ross, and a couple of people who appear to have their faces redacted. There are randomly a few photos of actor Chris Tucker. Here he is with Ghislaine Maxwell and a female whose face is redacted.
Chris Tucker, no! Chris Tucker, no! No! Why are you there, Chris? Why? I wonder how long it took for them to go through that 2 gigabyte. You see how they got all those black marks over faces and they, like how long did it take y'all to do that? And when did you start? Right? Because we already knew you were going to do it. Anybody who thought that they were going, like we spent so many years telling them we want this shit. Did you really think they weren't going to sit and make every excuse possible to delay it as long as possible until they felt comfortable enough to let this stuff out. This ain't even all of it. So you already know they doing the same shit to the rest of it right now as we speak. But I digress. Let's continue. No, Chris Tucker, I can't believe you're in there.
Former Duchess of York, Fergie, with a female whose face is redacted. Fergie, by the way, was married to Andrew, formerly Prince Andrew, the son of the late Queen Elizabeth II. There are even police reports from victims. You can see right there what this one is in regards to against Jeffrey Epstein. But most importantly, when this report was taken by police. That says 1996. 10 years before Epstein was prosecuted in Florida and 20 years before he was prosecuted in New York. There's also this from the grand jury in New York, which a judge ordered released. Instead, fully redacted every page. And then curiously, there is this section of Epstein with men whose faces are redacted. Here's one man, and then clearly another man. Why are these guys' faces redacted? Who are those two guys? Well, Congress got some answers from Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General, today. He sent a letter to Congress explaining what the DOJ's redaction process looked like. The Epstein Transparency Act specifically says that certain things can be redacted, like victims, identifying information about victims, information that could jeopardize ongoing investigations, or any kind of information that could jeopardize national security. And that's pretty much it. But Todd Blanche, who, by the way, is the same guy who went down to interview Ghislaine Maxwell, and then miraculously, a few days later, she was transferred to that low security prison in Texas. Well, he said that the DOJ took some liberties to redact a few other things, including law enforcement names and email addresses and names of Justice Department officials and things that could be considered attorney-client privilege. None of that, by the way, is allowed in the Epstein Transparency Act. So what's missing from today's drop? Well, it's hard to know what you don't know, but for sure, we're missing Jeffrey Epstein's autopsy. We're missing the 60-count federal indictment that the U.S. government threw out in 2007 and instead gave Epstein that sweetheart deal. And we're definitely missing the files that Epstein kept on his computer, which we believe include more flight logs, meetings, and names of other men who may have been involved.
Of course. Like, is anybody surprised here at all? Guess what? Continue to be disappointed, because more of nothing will be coming out very soon. They're only showing you faces of people they don't mind showing you faces of. Well, because it's not going to really get them in much trouble. The way that they're trying to let this out, they want all of the fall to come on that one particular brother, and that's Epstein. They are doing everything in their power to protect your boy, and whoever else they don't want to throw under the bus. Period. We know this was coming though.
Now, I want to be clear here. The information released today from the Department of Justice does not comply with the Epstein Transparency Act. The law specifically says DOJ shall release these files in their entirety today. Not a fraction of them, not a portion of them, all of them. And that didn't happen. So now what? Well, according to Representative Khanna, he and other congressmen and women are considering holding Attorney General Pam Bondi and her deputies in contempt of Congress, or perhaps prosecuting them, or even perhaps impeaching them. Now, I know you're probably thinking, well, they're not going to really do that. Plus, Trump's DOJ would have to be involved, and they're not going to prosecute their own. Well, that's probably true right now. But according to Representative Khanna, the statute of limitations on violating a law like this does not run out until way after Trump leaves office. So if it doesn't happen now, that doesn't mean it won't happen later.
So what you saying we got to wait until they kick his ass out of office, because the likelihood of any of this getting rectified won't happen right now. And you told me that they ain't screwing us over. They ain't screwing over these victims. They ain't playing in our face. I don't care what you say. That's trash. then y'all voted for.
And it's worth remembering, according to the Supreme Court, the only person in this government who is immune from criminal prosecution for a criminal act that he may or may not commit while in office is the President of the United States. No one else, including the Attorney General or her deputies, gets that same privilege.
Trash. Absolute trash. At the end of the day, justice will be served. It might not be served on earth, but it's going to be served one way or another. Y'all can hide behind all of these black marks and you can wipe everything out with erasers and Sharpies all you want. If you are part of a history that destroyed little girls and boys and all that weird shit, you will have to answer for it. And your money ain't going to be able to buy you out of it. Damn. Anybody else surprised though? Anybody else surprised about this? Tell me you're not.
Welcome aboard the flight. This is pilot who shies the talking. We going back to Memphis and coming straight from New Orleans. The estimated time of arrival is about an hour, and I can turn your ghost if you try and play with my power. So when you look up and see the sign flashing, stay in your seat. If the flight attendant say you making trouble, then we got beef. The turbulence might get rocky. You better not spill your food. This is bread and plain if you get it messy.